guys, Grungerlamp Zero Gaming here, and in today's video we are going to be talking about pretty much the brutes. Why weren't they in Halo 4 and 5, and also will they be in Halo 6 returning? But mostly I want to say why they were not in 4 and 5. Why were these, hairy no good things pretty much just like animal-like in the first place? And I'll give you a few reasons why they did what they did in just a few moments. So, the brutes, they are not exactly loyal to the Covenant. They're pretty much just here to, kill stuff. That's what they live for, kind of thing. Like, all they want to do is just like kill stuff, and that's about it. Their favorite, thing is to just like hunt Spartans down, and that's one of their things that they do. They're pretty violent, especially towards each other. Like, they will kill each other on like a day-to-day basis. Like, that's how violent they are. But that's how like these guys, they just start like charging you. Like, they're pretty crazy. So like this guy, like they'll just like if they lose their weapon or drop their weapon or don't have one, the immediate thing they revert back to is trying to like grab people and get them. So that for me was pretty interesting to see, is that they're kind of just reverting, like they don't have any like mannerisms. Or they actually kind of remind me of grizzly bears. They just try to maul people if they don't get what they want. It's kind of interesting. So then, going up the portal, literally and metaphorically, they have no really sense of hierarchy. They do have, command leaders somewhere, the golden suits, especially after, the Great War between the elites and the Covenant Civil War. So they have ranks and they have flags, and then they just have normal brutes. And then they have different squads of brutes. Like, why weren't they on the Halo 1 ring? Well, first of all, that was Arbiter's fleet, and he doesn't like brutes on his fleet. Arbiter never liked brutes to begin off with, so you could probably tell how this got so good. He probably even liked to fight them. That was probably like his thing. Anyway, so why weren't Covenant in? So why weren't these brutes? So now I'm going to go into it. Why weren't brutes in Halos 4 and 5? And this is the thing. Without a leader of command, as we saw when they murdered the Prophet of Truth at the mid-end of Halo 3, what happened was the brutes, they didn't first of all, they were already crazy, okay? But then they revert back to their state of, I don't have any commanders, I don't have just like a little single piece of like hierarchy or belonging to anybody. So what they go back to? They went back to fighting each other. So not each other, not like the main thing at hand. Like, they couldn't just come together and say, let's focus on the main problem at hand. Well, they don't do that. That's not what, like, the brute population, that's not what they do. So instead of doing that, they went back to some of their home planets, or some just went right into their ships, where they just fought each other in their ship. Like, most of them probably either just died out in space and went back to the home world, just because these guys look like farmers to you. These guys look like they're builders. No, they're destroyers. So pretty much what they actually had to do in Sword of Food is to raid elite colonies, of course, or like Ungoi colony. You're gonna steal from like the most thing that gets scared. So yeah, they decided stealing from Kigyar, pirate ships, all the things. Because remember, brutes, they split into multiple factions. There could just be like a ship of like a phantom of brutes that just said, hey, let's just like, be ourselves, and let's just like, go on this dude vacation thing and just, fight people where we can. And that's pretty much what they did. There was like thousands of just different, I guess, factions of brutes, if you will. And some actually, after this, they actually stayed loyal to their elites, who they were in the first place. And some of them kind of just stayed true. Some of them were actually, not all brutes are stupid. Some are just like overly stupid, and some are just rough, but they still know, like, they still have some kind of loyalty and some smarts. Even though, the Covenant, like, as it's been shown, they are, smart as like, a kid to like a teen. So That's literally what the brutes are. They don't have any sense of thinking, and that's why they weren't in Halos 4 and 5, because they couldn't even get it together just to rejoin. Like, they just left the Covenant, like, completely. Some stayed in the Covenant, don't get me wrong, but most who did really, like, they were rare. They were a rare occasion, and they're probably on their own fleets and ships, so, and that's why. And of course not in Requiem. I don't think they do that. They'd probably be like more like, see, Requiem, those guys were a search party. Those guys were not a warring party. The other guys, brutes were probably, they're fighting class, so they would be on, you know, like the fighting cruisers. So maybe like a head-to-head, like if they went up against UNSC, they would be there. Now they weren't on Fireteam Crimson because, you know, those things in Halo 4, you know, if you're not familiar with them, it's kind of like ODST, but like a free version of it. You get like the behind the scenes of like what Chief did on the Infinity, like they're always there after he left, like to clean up what he did. So basically, that kind of shows us that the Covenant, they weren't even expecting. It's like when Truth invaded Earth, thinking that there's no, you know, there's nobody, thinking that there's gonna be no humans on the world. It wasn't gonna be like, yeah, I don't know, their enemy's homeworld or something. They just stumbled upon it accidentally because the Ark was under Earth the entire time. So, yes, you'd have, you know, fighting ships on Earth. Now, no, you're not going to have fighting ships for a search party. They didn't know that Infinity would be on Requiem. All they were there for was pretty much they found, you know, the demon, and they're kind of like looting the Master Chief, because remember, his frigate was kind of like a graveyard ship. They're like, oh, this, you know, let's take this. So, that's pretty much why. And then the last thing I will talk about, will brutes be in Halo Infinite? So it was really funny, at the beginning of the trailer it showed the picture of a rhino, which actually I thought at first was like, oh, is this a brute? No, it turned out to be a rhino. But what's kind of interesting is they're probably going to be there because now it's going to be a fighting class for this ring. Not to mention that apparently the Banish might be involved in this. Zeta Halo, depends what Halo ring it is. We're not like 100% sure until the next like E3, you know, thing. So we really won't have our solid answer until then. But yeah, they're probably going to be returning in the form of another Covenant faction. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't be afraid to check out other Halo content, but you know, thank you for just like, you know, clicking on this video and you know, just watching it. I know it was like a really good, you know, for me it was a really interesting informational video that I wanted to talk about. You know, these guys right here, they're just like those violent creatures, and you know, they're kind of interesting to talk about like their history and like what's going to happen with them in the future, and will 343 bring them back? Anyway, please subscribe for more.